may say to yourself, but young manhood, why you got on a shirt telling me to unsubscribe? You got a defeatist mindset yourself? No, I'm just rocking a shirt that my brother sent me. Shout out to Dr. BL Way. Go subscribe to his channel. We don't always maintain the correct mindset throughout life. Sometimes we go through obstacles that discourage us a lot, make us not even want to try anymore, make us want to almost give up on our own lives, and we embrace defeatism without even really acknowledging that, hey, I've actually embraced the defeatist mindset and I didn't even realize it. And I'm gonna give you guys 3 ways to combat this. Whether you have recognized this within yourself or not, it doesn't matter. These tips will still be useful to anyone regardless. Number 1, the first thing that a person needs to do is you need to think back on times in which you faced obstacles. And we've all faced obstacles no matter what our age is. We will all experience trials and tribulations and things that cause a lot of heartache to us, cause a lot of stress in our lives, and could even cause a lot of physical pain depending on what occurred to you. And we have to think back and remember those times where we've experienced that, but we were able to overcome it. Whether this be the death of a loved one, whether this be you getting into a serious car accident and now you had to go through rehab to be able to walk again, things such as that. Those type of obstacles where you've overcame that sort of thing, it's important to think back on those instances. It's important to reach back and pull that memory. And depending on your age, you may have multiple incidents that you can pull from, multiple times in your memory banks where you faced major obstacles and you're still here, you're still standing, you're still living. So whatever occurred to you, it didn't kill you. It may have scarred you, which life is gonna scar all of us, truth be told. None of us are going to get through life unscathed, nobody. But it's important to think back to your successes, the things that you've overcame, the things that you've endured and you thought they were going to destroy you, that you thought they were going to kill you, but they didn't. And it's such an important thing that you think back. And it's not that you're thinking back to those memories in order to relive the trauma. No, you're thinking back to those memories to remind yourself that you survived, to remind yourself what you went through, but you're still here. You're still going forward. You still want to go forward. You still want to live. And that is the first step when it comes to overcoming a defeatist mindset. You got to think back to the times that you won. You got to remember the times that you won. You got to remember every instance, every obstacle that you've been through that was traumatic to you. You got to remember what you've overcame. And it's good to keep that in your memory bank so you can pull on that. And you can just remind yourself, hey, I'm going through this new situation right now, but this is nothing in comparison to what I went through 10 years ago. I'm going through a financial situation right now. Now that I got money, I'm in this new financial situation that's hurting me financially. But hey, I came from nothing. I came from being broke. I came from having no money. So I came from much worse than where I'm at today. Even though I'm going through this new obstacle, I was already here, much worse. You see, and that will give you confidence when you think back on them times. I used to have no food. I used to be struggling every day. And now you're thinking back to, I'm gonna do whatever it takes not to get back there. And that will motivate you. So that's one of the first things a person needs to do in order to keep themselves out of that defeatist mindset. You got to think back to your wins. Remember the wins. Remember what you've overcame thus far. And it will help push you forward over this new obstacle, whatever it may be. The next way, you have to be your greatest critic while simultaneously also being your greatest supporter. You gotta be your biggest critiquer and your biggest fan of yourself simultaneously. And it's important to have a good balance of this, meaning you gotta be the first one to criticize yourself. You gotta be the first one to criticize your shortcomings. You gotta be the first one to criticize your own mistakes. Before anybody can say something bad about you, too late. I already said about myself, too late. And we're talking about constructive criticism, not talking about just somebody they mad at you and they just making up stuff about you. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about people that care about you. Before the people that actually care about you and love you, before they criticize you, you've already done it to yourself. So it's important to have that level of self-awareness. So your number one critic gotta be you. And you also gotta be your number one fan. Before anybody pats you on the back, too damn late. I already got to my own back. I already congratulated myself. Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming after the fact. You have to pat yourself on the back. Any accomplishments you make throughout life, you have to continually pat yourself on the back. You have to keep giving yourself a pep talk each and every day. This is an important thing. You have to be self-motivated. Motivated by self. And being your biggest critic and your biggest fan, you gotta do this simultaneously in order for this to be effective. And you may think to yourself, how is that gonna help me overcome my defeatist mindset? Well, you will win more in life when you are your own biggest critic. You will win more in life when you criticize yourself on the daily, every day. You will grow, which is such an important key to overcoming a defeatist mindset. You gotta start winning. You gotta start winning at some aspects of your life. You see, because when you analyze the individuals that have a defeatist mindset, one thing that you will see in them is that they do not win very much in anything. They are not succeeding very much in anything. In a multitude of aspects within their own life, they seem to be unhappy. You see, this is how you can identify a person that has a defeatist mindset. No progression. They're not really progressing very much in life. They're in the same position that they were in last year. Talking about the same stuff, doing the same stuff, and they're unhappy about it. So it's not like they're maintaining a happy plateau. No, they're upset about the same thing they was mad about 2 years ago. They're not progressing. So this is why when you criticize yourself, you will win more. Because if you're talking about yourself out of love, because you love yourself, you will start improving and you will start doing better. Constructive criticism of yourself is a necessity, but you don't want to be too hard on yourself. This is why you have to also be your biggest fan, your greatest supporter. There can't be no better fan, no greater fan of me than me. I already got a number one fan. I see him every day in the mirror, and that's how everyone must be if you want to help overcome and keep that defeatist mindset far away from you. You gotta be your greatest critic while simultaneously being your biggest fan. And the last way that you can keep that defeatist mindset far away from you and not embrace it, the final way that you can do this is to stay far away from anybody that you know that already has a defeatist mindset. You gotta stay away from them. And this is not to say that you shouldn't love them anymore or whatever. You shouldn't still like them as a person, but you cannot have them around you on a daily basis with their mindset. You cannot have that mindset in your presence on a daily basis, because that sort of mindset is contagious. And not only is it a contagious mindset, it is also an aggressive mindset, because when an individual has a defeatist mindset, they often embrace being a major hater of other people. Major hater. Always mad at somebody, always got a problem with somebody, always either angry, depressed, always experiencing emotions that are not conducive to productivity and not conducive to a happy mental state. A peace of mind. It's not conducive at all to peace of mind. An individual that embraces the defeatist mindset, you have to get away from them. You have to. If you want to keep that mindset away from infecting you, if you don't want to be infected by it, you have to stay away from it, because it is contagious. The defeatist mindset is contagious, and misery absolutely loves company. Misery almost damn near needs company. Sad individuals, they're not trying to be the only one sad. Unfortunately. They're not trying to be miserable alone. They trying to find other people that can join them. People with a defeatist mindset, they are all over the place. It does not matter what environment you're in, even on YouTube, in the workplace, maybe in your own household. Unfortunately, people that have the defeatist mindset, they're all over the place. So the best thing you can do for yourself is to distance yourself from them. You gotta do it. And until they recognize this within themselves, they're not going to get out of that mindset. But you don't want them to pull you into their mindset, because it is easier for an individual to drown you than it is for you to save them. It's easier for you to drown. So you don't want to cause harm to yourself, because the individuals that you're trying to help, they've already given up. So part of getting out of the defeatist mindset, you have to save yourself. You have to want to save yourself. You have to want to protect yourself. So if you implement these 3 ways that I've mentioned, and I'm gonna go over them. If you think back on the obstacles that you faced and you've overcome, you pull on that memory bank. If you become your greatest critic while also being your greatest fan, and if you stay away from other individuals that embrace that defeatist mindset, I promise you, you will have a better chance at combating that infectious, that contagious, that disgusting thing known as the defeatist mindset.